fucking traveling with Jabberwockers, and I am quite confident that was strongly suggested by me.
When I stopped going to college, my dad didn't sit well with him.
Hell no.
Right?
Ponytail down here,
Yeah.
like a rat tail. It was like a hood mullet.
We haven't really been around each other in at least 15 years.
What is a friend? Now, if you were born in the age of social media, some would say it's the people that follow you. But if you grew up in the 80s and the 90s, it was the people you spent the most physical time with. And ultimately, the ones that know the most about you and still want to be your friend. Let me set the stage. Miyashita Park, Shibuya, Tokyo. I get to talk to my childhood best friend that I haven't truly spent any quality time with in over 15 years. We get personal, we talk about our journeys, and being grateful at the fact that we both ended up in Japan at the same time by accident. I hope you enjoy.
The crazy part about this whole thing to me anyways is we haven't really been around each other in it, like actually been in the same space outside of just a quick little meetup in at least 15 years.
Okay, should we add some context?
100%.
Okay.
100%. I mean, so for those of you that don't know, me and Brandon go super far back. Like, this is probably the oldest friend that I have in life.
In life? Oh my gosh, that shit is crazy.
Like, for real, like
no, that's crazy.
It's wild, because like
crazy.
We were playing basketball like 5-6 years old. Our parents knew each other from work.
But yeah, it's crazy, bro. It's been, I think, 5 years since the last time we seen each other.
Yeah.
5, which just sounds crazy. Like, when you have a friendship like we do, it doesn't feel that crazy, because when we tap in with each other,
it is.
It's like, bro, I've known this guy forever. It doesn't feel like we need too much effort to get back. You know what I mean? First of all, I'm just gonna say, like, I'm super excited for you to be here. I'm super excited to see you. I'm super excited to have spent some time with you. I'm super excited to have met Bree.
Yeah.
Such a pleasure. And yeah, man, I wish we could actually spend much more time. I'm just in the midst of like learning like what it really means to like finally build something that I'm proud of. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I've been trying to stay down and tapped in on that, because shit, it's all my money, bro. You know what I mean? Like, when you save for something, you struggling for something, like you work for something, you set a plan, and you know, it's time, and time is energy, all of it. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, that energy now transforming into investing in something, and want to see it blossom. Yeah. But honestly, bro, where we at? It's the top of, I think, Miyashita Park in Shibuya. Shibuya sky behind us. Yes. It's beautiful, not too hot, overcast.
Yes. And a lot of you guys don't know, like,
vibes.
Shibuya Crossing is literally below that building right there. Like, that's where we are in the location. But, I mean, those of you who follow me on YouTube know my passion about Japan. It just happened to be where Brandon was traveling with his business. It was just happenstance. Like, there was no plan. I saw him posting a competition for his business, and I was like, that looks like he's in Asia. I didn't know where.
Yeah.
And then I was like, yo, where you at? You're like, I'm in Japan. I was like, no way. I was like, no way. Out of, this is your first time here as well.
Yeah.
So for me, I was like, I've always wanted to come here my entire life. You're here on your new journey.
Yeah.
Like, really, you know, bringing it to fruition.
Yeah.
It was just very strange to me. Like, so.
Actually, you know what? I think I should rewind a little bit. I don't even know if you, so, all right, I think this is important. So, your mom's Filipino. Yeah. So, Adonis is Black and Filipino. Yeah. When we grew up, this is a story I tell some people. When we grew up, we would hang out. People thought they thought we were all mixed. Yeah. Me, you, and Josh, right? Because we're similar skin tone. And actually, I probably was the lightest one, actually.
You were. Yeah.
So, but Adonis is the only one that actually is mixed.
Yeah.
So they would like, oh, are you guys brothers?
Are y'all brothers?
But Adonis is black and Filipino, so I don't know where this shit came from. But people would ask me like, are you mixed? Are you mixed? Did you know I started telling people I was black and Japanese? Like as a joke. Because after you start getting it so many times, you're like, bro, all right, when we used to be dressed matchy and shit.
Oh yeah.
And
when we going out.
Yeah, so I would just like go with the joke.
Yeah.
That was like my first introduction to kind of anything Japanese, was just literally a joke.
Yeah.
Then there was like so many references, and it was like going to sound childish to some people, but this builds on life. Then there was literally 3 ninjas.
Yeah. Yes.
Right? No, and then you were the only person I know in childhood that was like really tapped into anime.
Yeah.
Like you were my only friend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because besides, even even the white kids in the neighborhood, they weren't into anime.
Nah.
It was you, that's it. And then shit, I was just playing sports and singing and shit.
Yeah.
Was Pernell into anime?
We were kind of, he was kind of, because I watched Dragon Ball Z and he would see some of the stuff as well, but not as much.
So that's how I got into Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
Right? So we got kid jokes, we got movies, we got you anime. And then, so I always had an affinity for like little things. Then I liked samurai.
Yeah.
I liked ninjas.
Yeah.
As I got older, I liked tea. And then in 2019, one of my close friends from college, his name's Tyrone, they did their bachelor party climbing Mount Fuji.
What?
And I was supposed to be here.
Oh, that's crazy.
So the crazy thing about it is, they might object to this, but I am quite confident that was strongly suggested by me, and they ended up coming because I wanted to come to Japan, and I never fucking came.
Oh wow.
I never came because at the time I was transitioning from traveling, and I was still trying to build my business on the legal side.
Right.
And it just wasn't a good year for me to come,
right,
like financially. So they came, bro. So I missed out. Like that was supposed to be. So I've been waiting to come here for so long.
Right.
So all that context with the fact that like I'm here, you and I, we keep in touch. Like we're family. So we, you know what I'm saying? We don't keep in touch like all the time, but we always know what's up. Didn't plan this trip
at all.
I was here, posted it randomly. He was like, "Yo, I'm coming to Japan through these dates. Where are you at?"
Right.
And I was in Japan. It's like I don't even know what you call it. Like serendipity to me doesn't do it justice.
It doesn't. It doesn't because, like, looking back at what we were trying to aspire to as kids, we always had like lofty ideas of what we wanted to do, whether it be becoming a professional athlete, a musician, you know what I'm saying? Like we knew we wanted to live something extraordinary at some level, right? And you know, the friend groups that always like, oh, we should have like a compound where we're all living in the same cul-de-sac, like, you know, those types of things that you think of.
Bro, that's so crazy. We really used to say that.
Yeah. So
I used to draw it.
I used to draw it.
Damn.
So it's one of those things where when you add in that context as well of like the set of decisions that I've made in, you know, going from, you know, doing the school thing to working at Apple to the dancing career to ultimately YouTube brought me here. And your whole route of the same thing, basketball, going into legal, going to college legal, and then starting your business brought you here. Like
our divergent paths brought us to the same place. It's basically
crazy to me.
But the crazy thing is, bro, what's like this? I think this moment, like, not like just right now. I mean, literally just us being here together. I think means more than I ever could articulate in words. Like for real, because the story of like my life, I feel like, and the story that I tell people about me, basically fighting to just come back to myself of who I always knew I was. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, you were at the core of all of that. Like I'm saying, like you were present was what I'm saying. Like for the core of who that human like was. Like the pure essence of like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Who I am, like what we were trying to do, what we aspired to, what we were like. That's what I mean when I say like you're at the core of that, because that was like, it was like, Yeah, I mean, it was the essence of like what we were doing in our childhood. We were being like just our purest versions of ourselves.
Right.
And sometimes for other people, they be like, oh, that was just my exploration phase, or I was trying to figure out who I was. But who I am today, like the things that I value, love, aspire, and that I use to kind of taste, make, and add to my business to communicate an idea is the same fucking person I was when I was 12 to 16.
Right.
And finding it. The only difference between you and I is you actually did the shit. You know what I'm saying? No, seriously. Like the things that we were building together at that time, you continued to like build and iterate on that, and stayed, like, you know what I mean? Stayed true. And you were able to build a life for yourself on what, conversely, for me, I couldn't detach myself from, honestly, just my programming, my parental programming,
Right.
and that it just like wasn't possible.
Right.
That's something I struggled with for over a decade. You know what I mean? So yeah, I might have had a different path, but my path was literally through that process trying to figure out like, yo, how do I get myself back? You know what I mean?
No, I know exactly
While
what you mean.
fucking traveling with Jabberwockers and dancing and shit.
Within that though was like, what I'm doing now was not even a thought. Maybe one day I'm gonna be creating videos online of me watching anime or like I would never even thought that, right? But like the Jabba stuff was more of like going into the dance realm and doing that and performing and traveling and stuff. It was dope for sure, but it also showed me that I didn't want to do that. I was like, okay, I love dance, I'm not in love with dance. And I was like, all right, where do I fit? Because the business head in me was like, there's no leverage here. I have no leverage, I have no residual, there's none of that on the business side of it. Because if I don't dance, I don't make an income, right? I had to show up to get paid.
Yeah.
Whereas a musician, you do the work, you create the album or whatever, and then hopefully it's good enough where people consume it and buy it, and you get paid multiple times over for doing the work once. So I was like, okay, I don't know if this for me is how I want to generate money.
Right.
But I still like to dance, but it wasn't like, I don't know if I want to make money doing this though.
Right.
It just didn't feel right.
Right.
So I was like, okay.
Wait, what made it not feel right though? Like besides the business aspect, besides being like, my labor
I didn't really want to focus on only trading my time for dollars.
Okay, so that's what it was. It was more so the business aspect.
It was a business aspect.
So why not? You know what? I never asked you this.
Yeah.
So, you know, we used to also sing together. We were in a group together.
Yeah.
The only group I was ever in.
Yeah.
You know, only time where I really thought like we were pursuing music, like literally professionally.
Right.
So, like, why not that side? Because, in my opinion, you were always a better singer than you were a dancer.
Oh, a lot of it was industry. When we started doing stuff with Youngstar, and then I started doing solo stuff and getting placed and like submitting stuff to labels, and then like I don't think you know this. So I had a manager when I was 19, 20. I had a manager in Vegas, and I got some interview conversations with some labels and stuff, and what they were really trying to push me as is like a newer Nate Dogg.
What?
So I was like, I'm not a gangster at all.
No,
by
nowhere
any
close.
stretch.
Right.
So I was like, so that side of it, I was a little weirded out by.
Honestly, I thought you was gonna say it was trying to push you as a newer Craig David. That's what I thought you was about to say. That's what I thought. I was like, oh, Craig.
But that's what they were trying to feel. Like, the whole
bro,
thug
look
R&B.
at this, bro.
Hey, it's humid. See, that's why I got multicolor. You can't really see it on mine.
I'm sweating like a
Guys,
motherfucker.
it is so humid out here, by the way. So
I look like a stylish Dalmatian.
Hey, but if you act like it's not there, it looks like it's the design.
All right, for sure.
So that was it. That was really it, though. Where I was like, okay, I don't know if I like this. And then when I would go to the studio and stuff with, like I was around like JR and stuff like that from I-15, and like just seeing certain people leave. Like, okay, real quick, rewind a little bit.
First of all,
me, Erica, and Pernell, we were in the group together.
Yeah.
We had did some sessions in LA at Record One, and
wait, Erica and Pernell were in a group after we were?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So we were in a group, went to Record One. We were actually in the studio working with Nephew. If you guys don't know who Nephew is, he's one of the sickest producers out there. Nephew did some stuff for Mario back in the day. He's incredible. He's an incredible producer. So this is the last studio that I think Pac was at. I think the last studio Biggie was at. The last studio Lee was at. Like, it's kind of a creepy thing to think about. But no, like, we left the studio, nobody recognized this guy. Nobody.
Yeah.
And he gets into I don't know if it was a Bentley or a Rolls, but he gets in, and nobody knew who he was.
Yeah.
Nobody even cared. And I was like, how is this possible? Like, this dude's living a particular life. Nobody's checking him. Nobody's in his business, in his face.
Yeah.
But as an artist, they're not making, at that time anyways, what the producers were making. So a lot of artists make their money on tours at that time. So I probably still now as well. But I was like, okay, I don't really want cameras in my face all the time, people in my business, blah, blah. But I like the lifestyle that they could live.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's interesting. So when I saw him living this lifestyle with nobody in his face, I was like,
that's luxury.
That's what I want.
That's the goal.
That's the goal, right?
Yeah.
So when you say, like, you know, I was going a particular direction, every step I was making was like, is this going to disappoint my dad?
Bro,
Like,
the thing is, the fucking, oh my gosh. Bro, I'm gonna be honest, you said so many things the time we've been together in the last couple of days.
Yeah.
I don't even, it's crazy. It's fucking almost verbatim the same shit like I would be thinking and saying or be considering. You know what I mean? But my bad. I didn't
No, you're good. But like,
yeah.
So what I'm saying is like, when I stopped going to college, right? I stopped.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not doing UNLV anymore.
Yeah.
My dad didn't sit well with him.
Hell no.
Right? Didn't sit well at all.
Yeah.
Right? And we didn't really speak at all for a while, a long while. So, you know, and I'd try to figure it out, and I'd job here, Starbucks, all, you know, Radio Shack, you know, just trying to make money, right? And it was just trying to figure other things out. So I was doing music on the side. I got into dance through that. Then I was like, okay, I really like dance. I'm gonna do this more. But it was very like trying to figure out, how do I use my talent as much as I could. But there was times I was like, I don't know if I can make this shit work. Like, I didn't know where it was gonna land. But I knew, like, when I was dancing and stuff, I would see the dancers that were super talented, but all they did was take class. And I'm like, how can we make money with this though? Like, fuck going to class every weekend. How do we take this and make money with it? Mm-hmm. So we put together some of our friends. We try to make little, like, production groups together. We try to go and get gigs and stuff like that. So we started doing that a little bit. But it wasn't anything professional. It wasn't like, oh, I have an entertainment business. And we were just trying to get money, get work. So we were doing all types of work. And then, you know, the crew that we started and going from there, and it was just, there was a lot of ambiguity in that process. There was no direction because we were kind of doing something that really isn't known as popular in Vegas. Like, anybody you see on the strip that's in shows aren't from Vegas. They're from other places.
And most of the time from LA.
LA or Europe or New York. A lot of the shows, the dancers are ballet or classically trained.
So there's a lot of crazy things in what you're saying though. One, just not to get tangential, but to hit on that point quickly, that's crazy. Because one thing that I learned, not only coming up in Vegas, but then leaving it, is that our talent is actually insane.
Our talent there is great.
We have great talent, and many times, better than the people that they pull from other places.
Yeah.
I don't know how shows don't source from home, but what you said is, when I'm just thinking about our paths, right? To me, what you've done is literally really adjacent to what like they preach in the startup community. Like, literally your whole life's trajectory is literally taking a leap and continuing to iterate on like the process. You basically iterated on your life.
Right.
You were like, no, I know I don't want to do this. And it may not look like a clean path, like, or a polished path, or a path that says, okay, I'm gonna take these steps and I'm gonna go to this place.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I have so much faith in myself. I'm gonna just continue to iterate and like until I find some shit. And it's so crazy that like, even when I'm just thinking some of the things you just articulated, from like leaving school, you know, to be like, all right, shit, I'm just gonna hit the streets, find a job. Okay, I'm staying in groups, I'm checking this out, I'm learning this. And then to like, you know, getting with a group, starting dancing, and it just led to like more and more things. And it's not only crazy, it's courageous. And I think it should be applauded like much more and amplified, because like our society says, or at least previously when we were growing up in our generation, says that like, oh, okay, what the correct thing is to do is what I did. You know what I mean? When really, it took me. Did you know I never wanted to go to college?
No, I had no idea.
No, I never knew. I mean, I never wanted to, but I knew I had to. At least that's how I felt. You know what I mean? They say that that's the right thing to do, but when really, in reality, it took me about around the same time doing shit that I didn't want to do to have to then get the courage to do the same thing you ended up doing anyway, which is taking the leap, is figuring it out, da-da-da-da-da. You know what I mean?
Right.
And unfortunately, some people that would have chosen my path rather than your path don't make it out. They'll be stuck in what I was doing forever, not ever being able to figure out like what is true to me. You know what I mean? It leads to depression.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like suicide. And even if not that dramatic, it leads to building a family that you're perpetually disgruntled at.
Right.
Raising kids and you know what I mean? Like where it affects them negatively in generations. I mean, I ain't mean to go like super deep, but
no, that's great though.
I just think that shit is so important.
But that's a perspective that I don't know, right? Like, you always hear like, you should do what you love, and I don't always think that that's the right advice for everyone.
Exactly.
Like, you should work and do what you love. Like, that doesn't always work.
No.
Right? But I don't know your perspective, so in my head, I'm like, like he pursued a career that he wanted to do.
Bro,
but here's the thing though, like, hear me out. Because like, from high school, we didn't go to the same high school. So I wasn't around you every day, right? So the day-to-day conversing didn't happen. I didn't know what your goals were outside of the music stuff or like the basketball stuff.
We saw each other all the time in high school.
But not all the time. We was like maybe on some weekends.
No, we saw each other in high school, bro. We were in a group in high school. Early high school, yeah. But like when we started making
like
each other once a week.
But when we started making life decisions, like, you know, but even going to college, like once you went to college, we were very
for sure.
You know, so I think from there it's like, okay, and for me looking at you like, damn, like you've always been the intellect in the group.
No,
right?
See, I don't think that's true.
I think so. I've always thought so.
Bro, I don't think that's true.
I've always thought. I was like,
you and I literally were damn near the same person. And that's why when there were fights amongst the three of us, it was between me and you.
It was. It was though.
Our birthdays are literally, what, 9 days apart?
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're the person that's literally, like, think about it this way. Literally on earth, you're the person that's closest to me, that like literally was born closest to me. I know.
That's fair. That's fair. No, for sure.
Know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's one other guy I knew from college that's born the same day as me, but we were never friends.
Right.
Not really. You know what I'm saying? But you're think about it. So the similarity, sometimes the things that we think, the way we approach things, the way we think about things, you know what I mean? And so, shit, honestly, I don't think so, bro. I don't even think it's even close to say that I was the most like intellectual, because
maybe it was just perception though for me.
You were more of a nerd in a good way about like things. You were able to like go deep on topics. You know what I mean? Like you could articulate. You could articulate details about architecture and cars. I'll never forget that I never had even thought of. You know what I mean? Like you had deep insights and passion on things that I was introduced to through you. Like, the only reason I know what a fucking Veyron is, no, dead ass. You know what I'm saying? To this day, is because of you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I didn't know what a fucking Bugatti was. I didn't know that they had like, I'm talking about like the Fast and the Furious, Tokyo Drift, all those whips.
Right.
No, I learned that shit from you.
Right.
I didn't know none of that. You know what I mean?
Well, you have Japanese, so you should have known. No, but this is so funny because I always admired how you thought about stuff.
Yeah.
So, and maybe to your point, it's because we're alike, and I like people that are thinkers.
Yeah.
I really enjoy somebody that can look at something and not only have their opinion about something, but can be objective and hear an opinion to see, does this make sense or does it not make sense?
Yeah.
And you've always been, I think, very good at taking in information without it being personal. You know, like, at least for me anyways.
Yeah, what you mean?
Like, and any of the decisions we had made, even in the music group stuff, like, where you would listen. It wasn't just, because music is passion. It's like a passionate thing.
Yeah.
So thinking about like the creative process in something, sometimes your emotion is what drives something. So if there's a direction somebody wants to take, whether it be P's idea, my idea, your idea, whatever.
Yeah.
In that time, I think me and P really clashed on a lot of decisions.
No, that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
Whereas you were like, like you could really take yourself out of something and observe. Yeah. And I think I actually learned a lot about perspective from you. And people always talk about my reactions, like, oh, I love how you always look at things in perspective. I feel like you were the person around me the most that could see perspective a lot better than anybody in our friend group at that age.
I appreciate it.
So for me anyways, it was like, I think that's probably why when I say intellect, it wasn't just like, oh, you can memorize things out of a school book. Fine, great. Right, your retention was phenomenal. But in real world practicality, with being able to take information in and say, okay, what can I do with this information?
Right.
What you're doing now is proof of that. You know what I'm saying? Like for you to transition from a law degree, being a working lawyer, a practicing lawyer for how many years?
Almost 8 years, yeah.
People would be like, oh, bro, you got it made, you're a lawyer, you're doing, regardless if they know the perspective or not.
Right.
But to then say, okay, I've been also building this on the side, I think it's time to take that leap.
Right.
That is an unsurmountable amount of pressure, right? But for someone that doesn't have enough perspective, it would be way more than that. They'd be like, okay, like I don't know how I'm, it'd almost be like analysis paralysis for some.
For sure.
But for you to be able to say, okay, I'm gonna take a step back, all right, this is what I wanna do. You planned it out over, 2-year period of you trying to make that transition?
Yeah.
Like, that's the same thing that I did with YouTube. I worked at YouTube and Apple at the same time. I'm working 8-hour days at Apple and I was spending about 12 to 16 hours a day. Sometimes I wouldn't get any sleep. I'm just like looking up stuff, researching camera stuff, how to edit this, for a year. I didn't get paid a dime until like month 10. But I was just so like, okay, like I have to put in this work. I have to figure it out. I wasn't trying to make bank the first year, but I needed to build the tools and build the skill set. And so for you to have that time and say, okay, I'm gonna have this 2-year plan to get from here to here, while you're in a practicing profession like that, that's a very hard move to make.
And you know, and the thing is, I'm still in the journey. Like I appreciate everything you said. I think it's important though, I'm still in the journey. It's not like I've made it and I got M's coming in or any money at all.
I don't have M's coming in.
But I'm talking about anything. Like it's still like I'm very much so in the journey. But I think, when you talk about, I've not made, I started traveling in 2017. Mm-hmm. I came back in 2018.
Right.
I didn't know how to make sense of the life that I had now wanted to live versus the life that I had created. It took me a couple years to kind of figure that out. Mm-hmm. It took me about 4 years to kind of figure that plan out. But even in those years, like I kept traveling. I'm saying that to say that where it started and where I am now, I still haven't made a single dime.
Right.
And then when you talk about perspective or taking a step back, in my mind, bro, in my life, there's no other option but to, one, it's either I'm going to not live or I'm going to figure it out. You know what I mean? Figure out not only what my truest, like the highest, the most actualized version of myself can make a positive impact on the world, but also simultaneously the selfish thing is, because we always have a little bit of the selfish thing, it's like, dog, how can I make myself proud? How can I make that 16-year-old kid, you know what I mean, proud of what I've become and overcome? Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the question, right? It's like, how do you switch from how do I please my parent to how do I please myself, right? And it's really hard because your parents want the best for you. They want you to be good. They want you to and the majority of the time it's sincere, right? Yeah. They want you to go to a particular path. that they feel is right for you, but they can also be sincerely wrong. You know, it's like, that's actually not what I want to do. And it's hard to digest. And I think the weird thing for me, I didn't actually tell my dad I had left Apple when I left Apple. And I was actually back in Vegas visiting. And I was meeting one of my cousins there at his house, because I hadn't seen in the longest on my dad's side. And she was like, oh, so what do you do for work? And I was like, oh, I'm a YouTuber. And she's like, what else? Like, oh, that's it. And my dad was like, oh, what? Like, he didn't know that I quit. Well, it wasn't that
I was like, damn, I wasn't trying to let you.
I never even thought about telling or asking or, he's like, oh, why did you tell me? I was like, I didn't think I needed to.
Think
like,
about it,
But that moment though, I felt, maybe it wasn't, but I felt there was a shift in the relationship between my dad, where it felt more like a respect was there, where I didn't feel like I needed permission or oversight or guidance on a decision that I made for myself. And he knew that I was doing okay. You know, so at least for me at that point, it felt like, oh, this feels, this felt good. But there was still like a anxiety about it though, like, you know, like, I do this full time, like, that's what I do. But, so yeah, I mean, I'm extremely excited for you, bro. Like,
I appreciate it.
Like,
I want to answer that question though, because you posed it. Like, you know, what does it mean to kind of transition from, you said pleasing your parents to like pleasing yourself?
Yeah.
You know, for me, I think it's a dichotomy that I still like struggle with. I don't think I have ever been willing to accept that I ever tried to please my parents. Because even as you said, I'm like, was that ever in my mind? Like, did I ever like, is that ever like in my consciousness? Like that I want to, because honestly, I can't admit to that. Even, you know what I mean? But what I can't admit, I can see remnants of it maybe in my past behavior. Like there were thoughts, ideas, and values that were impressed upon me by them that I couldn't detach from. So in a way, so for instance,
like drugs and alcohol, or like,
so like when I'm like, oh, can I do this thing? Like when I got to Atlanta, and this crazy thing, I'm telling you, it was always finding a way back to what we thrived and enjoyed literally in a garage in North Las Vegas. Like when I graduated law school and I moved to Atlanta and I started working in music and I started being around songwriters and producers and figured out like what they did professionally and had songs that were on Billboard with shit that we used to do driving around in our cars. And I was like, this is how you make this. I was like, oh, it's lit. I was like, oh, this is all y'all are doing? I thought there was like some intricate, you know what I mean? So what I'm saying is like, even when I was doing or trying those things out, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this, I always felt like I was trying to like please myself, but it was always bumping up against, but is this gonna work in society? Like, it was like, is this the smart thing to do? And is this the smart thing to do? I think someone else could interpret as what my parents approved, but I never thought about it like that. And it wasn't about the approval. It was just about, I think there is a subconsciousness of acceptance though, right? Which is like, oh, if I make this decision, am I gonna be able to go home? You know what I mean? Like, are people gonna look at me crazy or as dumb? Or because I feel like I had this intellectual ability, am I wasting something that's, honestly, this is what I really thought. This is what really pulled on me. It's like, am I wasting something that's a gift from God, you know, to feed my personal ego? To be honest, that's the main thing that probably pulled on me the whole time. It's like, damn, I have a skill to be able to do this, this, and this, but all I want to do is fucking write music and, you know what I mean? Am I going on too long?
No. I think you're good. I think that's one, at least for me, anyways. I still struggle with that now, of like, because Bree tells me all the time, "You're so talented. You can do this." And I'm just like, I forget honestly, like what I can do. She says, "You do a lot of stuff. You can sing. You can produce music. You can dance. You can draw. Like I can do a lot of shit." But I'm like, I never feel like I'm proficient enough in it to execute at a level that somebody would actually want to buy or consume or digest whatever I'm delivering to them. So maybe I'm just like, well, is this worth the effort to, because I've been so far detached from it in like being immersed in it like that. But then it's like, okay, how do I add some of those elements into what I'm currently doing? Is there a way to, you know, say, okay, I want to make my own music for an intro. Okay, so I did that, right? So for my intro for my videos, cool. Just made my own music. So I don't worry about copyright stuff, just make my own, cool. So it's like that stuff, I'm like, how can I utilize some of those skills, right? But I struggle with that now.
I think you and I had similar challenges. And I think one challenge that I have is that, and I think this is something that you had as well, which is crazy. Like the similarities in our lives are so crazy, not only our birth dates, but literally our fathers, who didn't work together actually. It was your father and my mother, you know, totally separate personalities, which is crazy, but our fathers raised us similarly and we're similar human beings. So it's actually crazy. But I think one of the things that I think you and I both have as natural talents is actually the ability to do certain things that other people perceive as talent effortlessly. And I think that's a gift and a curse.
Yes.
It's a gift because we're able to do it. It's a talent, it's a skill that's able to be honed from a certain foundation that's higher than other people. It's a curse for at least for me, for two reasons. One, I never think it's as significant. And two, because I have a certain taste level, I'm like, oh, that's not as good as I would like it to be.
100%.
It's not as good 100%. As I would like it to be, and because it's not as good as I'd like it to be, unless it's as good as I'd like it to be, no one else should ever see it. Ever.
Bree shaking her head off.
No. But here's the piece that I struggle with that I don't think you struggle with as much, which is, for me, because we're naturally good at certain things, a skill that was not developed for me as a young person was, we had discipline, but I didn't have discipline to develop skills in things that I wasn't good at. Which means, like, over a period of a longer period of time, starting from trash to like excellence, because there wasn't many things that I was trash at. So anything I could pick up, I was already starting from here. Like when it was basketball, I started later than everybody. But one of my skills was I can learn shit. Like you said, I can learn and get good at shit. So by the time I started playing basketball and I started behind everyone, I remember freshman year of high school, I played on freshman squad. Then I skipped JV. Everybody was pissed off. Why? Because I fucking worked over the summer. You know what I mean? But so I said to say, I don't think you have that same problem. And because I don't feel like you have that same problem, because you've built from YouTube, like you started the process of, I do not know how to do this shit at all. This is something completely new. And you stayed at it over time. And that's one of the reasons I don't think you have that same challenge. And because you don't have that same challenge, I feel like if you would just apply that same principle to the shit that you're talking about you're not good at, because I think you still have more natural talent than I ever had. I even forgot that you could draw. That's crazy. No, you could draw crazy too. That's like, I can't draw worth shit. You know what I'm saying? I feel like applying that same principle. Bro, shit, you know how to create a product and have people monetize over time. And now in this world that you've existed in for a long time, where there's like, hey, a YouTube, so many facets of that, even if you just showed your process, and I know, I'm telling someone who thinks just like I do, like, so I already know what you're gonna say, but it's like, damn, bro, just start like, where you at? God damn, why am I about to talk to myself about some advice I should be giving myself? I can't fucking, I mean, I don't want to say
Bree, so if you guys don't know, Bree is literally behind the camera probably thinking they're talking to themselves in a mirror right now.
It's so interesting and frustrating to watch at the same time, because we're both having epiphanies of, hang on a minute. I'm like,
no, but
what does our light look like? We're good? It looks a little dark.
No, we good.
The battery's about to die.
Yeah, battery's about to be low. We should wrap. I'm excited, bro. I'm excited to see you here. Like, that's just, it feels really good.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm just pissed off that you live in Australia. That's another piece of it.
Look, I mean,
because you live so there's nothing close to Australia except Indonesia.
Yeah, in New Zealand. In New Zealand. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a ways for travel for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that's why to me it's so dope that you're here. Like,
Yeah.
especially right now, like I just feel it's great. And having this conversation that was, I think, definitely needed.
For sure.
But I think too, like a lot of people that follow me don't really get this side of me. They really don't know anything about me outside of what I create.
Yeah.
So
Similarly, bro, this is probably the rawest conversation, and that I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but this is the rawest conversation for sure that anybody's seen from me on any platform.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So I don't know, man. I appreciate you. Love you like a brother, for real.
Bro, we are brothers. Like for real. Like for real, for real.
Yeah.
For real. They like you. Besides you and Josh, ain't nobody closer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Shit is crazy, but yeah, man.
I'm sweaty as fuck.
He's sweaty as fuck. Is he even on camera now? He's too tall. My dude literally, he turned into Attack on Titan. Y'all can't even see him.
Hey, so another thing that we missed though is I was looking forward to this, and I don't know, maybe we'll get a chance before Sunday. I really wanted to like have one of those moments from childhood where it's like, okay, we were actually going through, and I'm actually experiencing you see the shit that you are always passionate about. And then you really put me up on game about just some of the anime and the manga stuff.
Look, if we
That
can figure something out before you leave, and we can walk through an area and I can show you some shit, or at least you can see what the fuck
because that's like sentimental. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's like literally like
yeah.
it's like think about it, bro. We were literally little kids in bedrooms. You know what I'm saying? Do people know about your ponytail?
No.
Oh my gosh,
Bree
I can't
knows
wait
about it.
oh my god, I came with the pictures. Like literally, this motherfucker used to have superpowers. Like that shit was like it was like a superpower. Like bro, they really as kids thought if they cut that shit off, they was gonna lose superpowers. They had the longest point, like literally ponytail down here, like a rat tail, rat tail.
Yeah.
For real, it was like a hood mullet. Yo, it was.
Not the hood mullet.
Yo.
No, that's
All
funny.
right, let's go have some fun.
Let's do that.